Hello everyone, this is the Biz and you're back with another video, and in Pokemon Unite there's something called the Solo Challenge game mode. Now you can access it by clicking here, and there is a version themed around Cynthia and one themed around Leon. Now if you're watching this in the future, there might be more that are themed around other characters, but as of me recording this, there's only 2. And you might be wondering, is there any point to actually doing this? Why should I take part in this Solo Challenge game mode? Well, the reason to do this, there's a few reasons. The biggest is the fact that there are certain missions available. You have daily missions as well as seasonal missions, and you complete these missions and that will allow you to get certain rewards. You can see some of these on the screen. These generally are Aeos tickets or item enhancers, not the craziest, but they have some fancy rewards here and there. So I do recommend doing this if you're interested in those. And I also recommend using this game mode if you're interested in playing certain Pokemon that you're not the best with. I personally find this very helpful when I bought a Pokemon for the first time and I want to try it out, or just practicing Pokemon that I'm not that comfortable with. If there's a Pokemon that I recently bought, I don't want to take it into ranked because that's generally not a good thing to do. You should definitely have some practice before taking Pokemon into ranked, and standard mode generally has a lot of bots, so don't want to try it there either. Versus this game mode, sure there are bots, but they're a little bit tougher than normal. And also, you get some extra rewards by completing the missions, and you get some experience, so it's a nice win-win situation to try this game out. Now when it comes to the missions, most of them are fairly easy to complete. I mean, the daily ones are made to be very easy, of course, but some of the challenge missions can be a bit more difficult. They require multiple games. I mean, some are, you must KO the top Reggie, the Regieleki a certain number of times, or, KO Rayquaza a certain number of times. Obviously, this will take multiple games to accomplish, but it's still a fun thing to do. But one of the toughest things that is pretty hard to consistently accomplish is titled with 10% or less remaining HP, knock out 2 opposing Pokemon in the solo challenge format. And it's the main reason I made this video, because this mission was one that I used to struggle with quite a bit, until I figured out the Pokemon that worked best for this format and for this challenge, because there are certain Pokemon that I think work really well, and the one that works best for me, personally, is Talonflame. Talonflame is fantastic for this mission format. I mean, you have to get the 10% or less remaining HP, so you let the opponents deal a massive amount of damage to you, and then you can use Fly, get above, make sure you're at that low threshold of HP, and deal massive damage to them. I also think Flame Charge works well with this. You can dash around, make sure you're positioning yourself well and able to deal that massive burst of damage and KO the opponents, and Fly Talonflame has been my answer to this mission every single season. It's very easy, very reliable, and very consistent every single time. Now, I'm not saying that you can't accomplish this challenge with other Pokemon. I still think it's definitely possible, of course. I think another great option, though, is Ceruledge, specifically Phantom Force Ceruledge. You have that same idea of kind of going invisible after dealing massive damage to opponents, and then coming out, dealing massive damage, making sure you secure the KO, and ensuring that you're able to complete this challenge. It's not as good, but it is probably the second most useful, at least in my experience, when it comes to completing this challenge. Another thing to keep in mind is the difficulty level when you're playing this. When you're trying to complete this mission, you might think, oh, it's maybe better to do it on casual. And I personally actually don't find success when playing it on casual. I find that I tend to get a bit too ahead level-wise, and I'm dealing too much damage to the opponents. They're not dealing enough damage to me, which ends up leading to me not getting below that 10% threshold, or if I do, the teammates end up KOing the opponents too fast, and it doesn't work out in casual mode for me personally. I've had the most success with intermediate. I think expert also works well, but I think intermediate is the perfect spot, at least for Talonflame. I think Ceruledge, it might be a bit easier to do it on expert, but that again is just my personal experience. It depends on your playstyle, how you're positioning. But at the end of the day, I personally have had the most success with Talonflame in the intermediate difficulty. So I know this was kind of random. I wanted to make this video a long time ago. Totally forgot about it, but hopefully this was useful, hopefully this was helpful, and maybe this could serve as a bit of inspiration to try this solo challenge game mode again. It's kind of fun, especially when you're not sure what to do if you're trying to learn a Pokemon again. Great option, and you get some rewards for it too. And it's a nice de-stress between ranked games as well, because we all know ranked can be very painful at times. So hopefully you all enjoy this, and I will be there in the next video. Cheers.